Ladies and gentlemen, yes, this is your favorite show, Sports Unfolded, with your favorite hosts, Eric and
It's only, I don't have a video of you.
I know. I don't know what I did. Yeah, keep going. I'm still here.
Welcome to the Sports Unfolded NFL Power Ranking Show for Week 8. I am your host, Eric. My main man over there, Ron, he's decided to show back up. How are you?
Yeah, I don't know. I hit a wrong button, so I went, uh-oh. Then I realized I was live. And
Oh, that was good. That was a good one, though, man. That one worked out pretty well.
And then I shut myself off in a panic.
That's funny. We are here to discuss the NFL Power Rankings that we came out with today for Week 8. We'll bring those up for you, and then we'll discuss how we got there.
Yeah.
So, number 5, the Minnesota Vikings, 6-1. Kansas City Chiefs, 5-2 at 4. Dallas Cowboys jumped up 2 spots to number 3, 6-2 overall. Philadelphia 76ers. I'm on basketball. That's tomorrow. Philadelphia Eagles, 7-0, remain at 2, and the Buffalo Bills remain at number 1 at 6-1 overall. So let's discuss how we got there, Ron.
It's been a crazy season.
This NFL season's been unreal.
It's hard to keep up.
Yes. You got to do a lot of research.
Hey, look.
So when people,
the one thing that I've gotten right so far, Detroit only has 1 win.
Detroit looking very good now. They're getting rid of half their coaching staff now. That's the next part of this process. So good for them. So let's talk about that number 5 team, the Minnesota Vikings. They are 6-1. The problem I have with Minnesota, and it was very tough to keep them on this list, their quality of wins aren't very good. They've beaten Arizona, Miami, Chicago, New Orleans, Detroit, and Green Bay.
Right.
All those teams have pretty much struggled.
Yes.
So what we looked at is they had a loss against Philadelphia, the number 2 team overall, 15th offensively, 10th with points for, 14th points against, not very good defensively, 28th, but good enough where Tennessee had a shot to be on the list on this list, but 32nd overall offensively, one of the worst teams in the league, and a couple of their wins, Houston, 2 against Indianapolis, Washington, and Vegas. Not very good quality wins for Tennessee. They've beaten teams that they should beat.
Well, and you look at it, Eric. Who do you feel more comfortable with leading your team, Cousins or Tannehill?
No, I'd always go Cousins. I'd always go with my Cousins. Family first.
Yeah, this is true.
as Dama, right? Dama, not Dama.
Dama. Jeffrey Dahmer?
Jeffrey Dahmer would say, family comes first. Yeah.
Yeah.
As Vin Diesel would say, right? It's all about family. So I would go with Cousins. Minnesota, again, it's going to be interesting to see how they come out of this season. Again, always one of those teams, you think they're going to be better than they are, and they get to the postseason. But this seems like the year that they've at least figured some things out. Kevin O'Connell, new head coach, coming over from the Rams, has definitely made an improvement with at least their discipline in winning some of these games they were losing last season.
Absolutely. And you look at the big thing last year, the defense let them down a lot last year.
Yeah. And being 28 this season, they've got to improve that.
Yeah, and you look at the Smith boys leading the way for this defense. Zadarius Smith with 7.5 sacks, tied for 4th in sacks, 21 tackles, not too shabby. And Harrison Smith with 3 interceptions, that's leading the defense. So the pressure that Zadarius Smith is doing, getting those 7.5 sacks and plus the pressure is causing a ripple effect throughout that defense, and that is why you got guys like Harrison Smith getting those interceptions.
Key's going to be for viewers. Thank you, Faceless. The key would be how quickly, when they play a team with some quality and some offense, can they respond? I'm not sold on Minnesota. I think they deserve to be on this list at number 5, but question will be, can they remain at 5 next week? We will see.
Absolutely, yeah. It's going to be a big question of who if they can handle those top teams.
Let's talk about that number 14, though. And that would be the Kansas City Chiefs, which, again, if people want to look at it and say this team should be higher, again, some good wins against San Francisco, Tampa Bay, even though those two teams are struggling, could lose those type of games. The Chargers, but bad loss to Indianapolis, obvious loss to Buffalo. And then defensively, another team that's struggling, 26th overall defensively, 23rd points against. They have the number 1 point scoring in the league. They are the top scoring team and second offensively. But again, those questions that on the defensive side of the ball, I knocked them down a bit because they're just not performing the way they're capable of defensively.
Right. And if they go up against a team that can shut them down at all and put up numbers, Buffalo Bills, they're not gonna come out on top of that kind of a team. A team
And
that
it's crazy.
and Philadelphia is
Right.
another one of those teams.
That's what I would say. As crazy as people say Philadelphia is not a real team, and I've heard that a lot with some of the posts we've put up, that they're the Pittsburgh Steelers of last season who started off 11-0. Not even close, because offensively, Philadelphia, and defensively, Philadelphia is so strong. They have the capability of beating a Kansas City Chiefs team.
Yeah.
Which, if we were going to say that early in the year, we'd say we're crazy. We would have just stopped doing Sports Unfolded altogether and say, look, we don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
But you can see it. You see the performances on the field. And Kansas City, to your point, hasn't really had to face a challenge other than Buffalo. And Buffalo was able to hold them with their stout defense and scored more points and won the game.
Yeah. Yep,
So
absolutely.
it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see where Kansas City finishes the end of the year, because the expectation is going to be that these two teams, Buffalo and Kansas City, are going to be in the AFC Championship game. And I would still pick Buffalo again today.
I would too.
So
it wouldn't even be a
not
question.
where they need to be, right? Not where they need to be.
And
interesting. Oh, go ahead.
No, and the next team that we talk about is one of those teams that definitely has the talent to take care of a Kansas City.
Again, 49 points scored last week. That's the Dallas Cowboys, our third-ranked team. Again, another team, though, offensively was the top offensive team in the league last season. This season, slow start, only 24th. But I feel like they can pick that up. You're starting to see Dak get back into his form. They're extremely good defensively. We talked about them and Micah Parsons and what he is. He's going to be the NFL Defensive Player of the Year. We could almost guarantee that. If you're in Vegas right now and I want to put money on that, I would, because that's almost a lock. 7th defensively, this team, 3rd points against. They are not giving up points. They're just starting to get rolling with their points scored. Very good win last week. Looked dominant throughout. So, well-deserved 3rd place for the Dallas Cowboys?
Absolutely. And plus you throw in the factor that Cooper Rush was leading the team for a lot of those wins. And let me tell you, he played pretty well, for a backup, against tough teams too. He didn't just go up against all cupcakes,
Yeah.
There were some cupcakes, but those were tough games in there. But the thing that stands out to me is the running game. And when you have Pollard, 506 yards, Elliott, 443 yards, I mean, that is dictating the game. And that is exactly what you need to do in the playoffs. Now, the question is, can the team do it in the playoffs? We know they can do it during the regular season, but playoffs are going to be a different story altogether.
When they were successful, they were running the ball extremely well. They made that a focus. So you're right. If they can continue to run the ball, key's going to be in the playoffs is coaching.
Yeah.
We know they're a very good regular season team.
Yeah.
The decisions that are made in the playoffs can win or lose you a game. Why we saw them lose last season. But this is a playoff team. And again, to your point, if they're running on all cylinders with that offense and the defense playing as well as they are, they can win the NFC. They can.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough if their coaching lets them down, though.
Yeah. And we didn't even mention Diggs with his 3 interceptions so far. It's like the whole Parsons thing, he generates so much, defensively and so much chaos that you have a quarterback that if he has any doubts whatsoever, he's going to throw the ball in the wrong spot, and the defense just cleans it up. It just cleans it up. I mean, this is one of the most feared defenses in the league, and I think there's only 2 others that I think are better, and that is the 1 and 2 team.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Look, defense wins championships. We can sit there and talk about those dynamic offenses, but if you don't have a defense that can shut down teams, you're going to struggle in the playoffs in the NFL. That's almost a guarantee.
Absolutely.
And that's why at number 2, this is the team that Dallas really has to focus on, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles at 7-0 still have not lost a game. Again, you can question, and this is where some people were questioning the teams they have beaten. But if you can beat all the teams you need to beat and you're in the top 5 in all major statistical categories, you're a pretty good team. They've beat Pittsburgh, Dallas, Arizona, Jacksonville, Washington, Minnesota, and Detroit. Minnesota's on this list. Dallas is on this list. Those are 2 teams. The point they played Jacksonville, they were on the list.
Yeah.
So, again, some good quality teams. Detroit, we know their offense and what they're able to do. So, again, you can lose those games. Detroit's coaching staff has let them down in almost every game they've had. So, when you're the 3rd-ranked offense, 3rd in points for, 4th in defense, and 4th in points against, it was a tough call not to put them back at number 1. But again, the quality of wins on the teams they've played is where I questioned it a little bit.
Yeah, and they're getting great quality play, like in every aspect of the game, whether defensive or offensive line, the linebackers, defensive backs, the running backs. I mean, you name it, they're getting great play, and having Jalen Hurts with his 67% passer,
Talk about taking the next step.
Look, he's got 10 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. It seems like it's a lot of touchdowns, but that's not including on the ground with him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a bunch of them. So
the pickup of A.J. Brown, what he's meant to that passing game, because Devontae Smith is a very good wide receiver, and he performed outstanding last season as a rookie. But now you added A.J. Brown to that lineup.
Yeah.
They made some moves at the trade deadline as well. So it's going to be interesting to see if Philadelphia can continue to dominate the way they have. At what point would I say this, Ron? So 7-0. When would you start to say they're legitimate? Because people are still questioning this.
I think they're legitimate. I said that right from the beginning of the season. I picked them to win that division. I'm holding it to it. I mean, I'm not wavering at all. And I will. They're just proving my point.
Yeah, I will defend it this way because there's been people chattering. They're the Pittsburgh Steelers of last season, started off 11-0. Well, I would say is this: Pittsburgh didn't have this offense or this defense that Philadelphia is playing with. So not dominating. Pittsburgh was winning games, but not winning games like Philadelphia Eagles are. So I don't consider that a fair comparison.
Yeah, no, it's not. You know, and let's be real. What's Pittsburgh? You know, they showed
Last
their
season,
shoe.
Ben Roethlisberger,
Yeah,
what was he on? Yeah, 15, 16.
yeah.
A shell of himself. Yeah, you can't even compare the two.
No,
Can't
no.
even compare the two. So
No.
if you're going to come at me with that argument that they're not legitimate, then give me a better reason, because I want to know what Pittsburgh was ranked during the season, because I guarantee it wasn't third, fourth overall offensive defensively.
So you know, when you look at the legitimacy of a team that is 7-0. Okay, have they lost to, say, Detroit, Chicago Bears? You
No.
know, no.
One of those teams that they should be and they lost. No.
Right.
Hence the Kansas City Chiefs, who lost to the Indianapolis Colts.
Right.
And that should have never happened.
Right.
So we can sit there and question it. But
If you are winning the games you are supposed to win, then it is legitimate. And when you throw in wins over Dallas and Minnesota, who basically Minnesota's only lost to Philadelphia.
Yep.
Dallas has 2 losses. You know, opening week, I believe, and
yep,
the one to
Tampa Bay
Philadelphia.
and Philadelphia. Yep.
So how is Philadelphia not legitimate with those 2
I
wins?
just don't think people are looking at the whole picture. And again, you're going to have haters out there who hate just because they don't like the team.
Yeah.
We don't do that here at Sports Unfolded.
No.
We are going to give you our legitimate picks based on what the numbers are telling us. So always remember that. It's not just us deciding, hey, we really like this team, we're putting them in there. But let's talk about this number 1 team. Buffalo Bills. Again, dominant. Dominant team. 6-1. Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers asked for this. He said this is exactly what his team needs to try to get back into it.
Good call.
They didn't.
Good call.
Yeah, not what they wanted. They've beaten the Chiefs. They've beaten Baltimore. They've beaten Tennessee. They've beaten the Rams. All good teams. It's Pittsburgh. Number 1 offense, number 3 defense, second in points for, first points against. They're scoring more points than just about everybody else in the league, and they're giving up the least amount of points in the league.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, MVP candidate for sure.
Absolutely.
It's almost a guarantee as well on that. And then just the defense and what they were able to do. Do we see a fault with this team?
If there is a fault, it's that they don't have an established running game. Now, with that being said, I think they have enough of a running game to be quite fine.
Yeah.
Because if there's a threat to run, and there is a threat to run at all times, because Singletary.
Singletary. Yeah.
He's a pretty good running back.
And their best running back's probably Josh Allen.
Right. And that's the next thing to it, you know? Yeah. And it's like, if he needs 5 yards, he can just run somebody over or hurdle them.
Yeah.
Because he's already done that a couple of times.
Yep. Look, to me, team to beat in the AFC.
Absolutely. It's not.
They're Super Bowl bound unless, an injury happens. And there's talk about Odell Beckham Jr. being added to this team. So you add that to a receiving core that, with Stephon Diggs, McKenzie, and what those guys have been able to do, and Knox at tight end. It's unfair. Yeah. There's not going to be many teams that can put out enough defensive players that are going to be able to
And if you can add a Von Miller, wait, they've already got a Von Miller.
Good call. Good call.
Imagine if they get another one.
Yes, oh boy. Well, good thing the trade deadline's over. We don't have to worry about them picking up anybody else. All right, so let's bring that list up again before we talk about our top 3 players of last week, who we rated. But that was, again, how we finished this week. Minnesota, 6-1 at number 5. Kansas City Chiefs, 5-2 at 4. The Dallas Cowboys, 6-2 at 3. Philadelphia remaining at 2, 7-0. And the Buffalo Bills, 6-1, the number 1 team on the Sports Unfolded NFL rankings. are posted on all our social media platforms. Have any questions? Want to debate it? Put it on there. Join us Friday nights if you really want to debate it and tell us what you think about our list. We always want to hear from our fans. Ron, let's talk about our top three from last week. Top three performance.
I'm actually looking forward to this.
I know how you get angry with me about the honorable mention.
Oh, come on,
It's
again.
supposed to be three. But I want to say that
my honorable mention are to the M&Ms with another fine commercial for Halloween.
The Halloween commercial, wasn't that great?
It was great.
I don't feel anything.
Yeah.
That's not good. Yeah, that
I
was
love
a
those
great
guys.
One. Yeah, that was so funny. So I just want to throw in there Tyreek Hill because I originally had him on my list.
Yeah.
12 receptions, 188.
And M&M's,
But-
Hershey's, or whoever does it,
Yeah,
M&M Mars, send us some M&M's. Here's some please.
Yeah, okay. Or sponsor the show. And we'll mention M&M's every week. 6, but I have to go at number 3 for me. A.J. Brown, 6 receptions. So half of what Tyreek Hill had. This is why I wanted to do the honorable mention because people are like, what are you doing, Eric? But 156 yards. He averaged 26 yards a reception, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
A.J. Brown, my number 3.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my number 3 is Jalen Hurts.
Oof, okay.
285 yards and responsible for 4 touchdowns, 3 of them which went to your number 3.
Yeah.
You can't have one without the other, right? And those 2 guys are just deadly right now. Deadly. They are probably more in tune than any 2 players in the league right now.
How great of a combination
Well, except
was
for
that?
maybe Diggs and Allen. That's about it.
Yeah. It's pretty impressive what he's been able to do in his first year in Philadelphia and just being able to, anoint himself as the top wide receiver in that offense.
Yeah.
So really impressive. How about at number 2, Ron?
Number 2, I have Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, triple threat.
Okay.
I forgot about him. Great call.
94 yards on the ground with a touchdown on the ground.
Yeah.
55 receiving yards with a touchdown reception.
Yeah.
34 passing yards with a touchdown pass. I mean, if that's not doing it all, I don't know what is. I mean, he basically won.
Who was the last player to do it? Do you remember?
Why I have Marshall Faulk in my head, but I don't think he threw a touchdown.
LaDainian Tomlinson was the last one. I think 2005.
Oh, so it was, yeah. So it was a team that always whines about the Patriots, but just the wrong one.
See, yes, good call. But I mean, great call. Great call. I went 2 at number 2. 29 for 36, 382 yards. So he had the most passing yards in the NFL last week. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. We think about the injury. The fact that, again, Detroit blew a lead. He was able to lead Miami back and win that game and not have one of those bad losses. I went to Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, say that fast 5 times.
Yeah, not even going to try.
Look, as much as I criticize Tua, and I've done that a lot, I'm going to give him props.
You're really good about not criticizing anyone, so
that's why I get so many Christmas cards.
Yes, that's what they go. Yeah, with "We hate you." Yes,
I get all those cards. But no, look, he's playing well. I thought he was an idiot for saying that he didn't have a concussion that first time. He made himself look bad by saying that. And look, he just wants to play. We get it. But
be smart about it.
Be smart about it because you could have gotten killed.
Yeah, be smart about it.
But he's playing fantastic this year, so I mean, he looks legitimate to me. It helps with those receivers, but
Yeah, I'll be surprised if this guy's not your number 1. And that is
it had to be
Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
32 carries, 219 yards, 2 touchdowns.
219 yards.
Do you realize
he's got 6 of them
against Houston? No, 4 against Houston.
4 against Houston, 6
4 of them.
And that's crazy.
Why does Houston even if I saw I just forfeit. I don't want to give up 4 times now. You've given up 200 plus yards to Derrick Henry.
Like at some point, you're gonna say, "Hey, maybe we should stop Henry. Maybe,
Yeah, let's just
maybe."
at least draft instead of drafting, just draft defensive linemen and linebackers that can at least try to shut them down.
Look, you're playing Tennessee. You stop the running game. You stop Tennessee. You're the only team that hasn't figured that out yet.
But
The
unreal.
only team. The only team.
219 yards, unreal. Trayvon Edmonds for just on the defensive side, 16 tackles for Buffalo last week as well. So you think about some of the defensive guys, they don't get a lot of love, but that was pretty impressive in that win. Ron, our power rankings, we're week 9 now. See if anything changes. If you enjoy what you're watching, check us out on Friday nights, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live. We are fan interactive. We've had Faceless join tonight. Kenny join on our NFL rankings. You guys have been great. Check us out. Rhode Island Broadcasting on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. You can follow, subscribe. Make sure you don't miss a show. Join in and tell us how we're doing with all our rankings. And we've got so much to cover this Friday. We've got from the Boston Celtics, Boston Bruins, NFL, trades. There is going to be a ton to go over this
World Series
week.
talk.
World Series baseball.
And,
I'm so excited.
And look, you gamers out there that watch us, check out Faceless_PT. He's here almost every show. Throw him some support. If you're on Twitch, get out there and check him out because he supports us all the time. And I try to make it out. I think our schedules must be crazy because I never see him online when I'm on.
I'll have to check him out as well on my Twitch. But can't wait. See you Friday, Ron. Kenny will join me tomorrow for our NBA rankings, our first show of this season for our NBA rankings. Can't wait to see what comes out with that as well. And just tune in Friday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Follow us, share us, support us, donate stars, bits. We love to get as much support as we can. And if you ever want to sponsor the show, ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com. We could get your business on our show. Thousands of eyes on it weekly. Check us out.
It's right there, right on the screen now.
Phoenix. Good night, Ron. Thank you for joining quickly, Phoenix. Ron, I will see you on Friday night, 6 p.m., my friend. You take care. Fans out there, peace.
And Faceless and Kenny and the rest of you out there. Have a good night.